What if the greatest war you'll ever fight isn't out there, in the world of deadlines and demands, but inside the silent, echoing chambers of your own mind? What if the heaviest chains you'll ever bear were not forged by someone else, but by you, link by agonizing link, in the quiet moments of doubt, fear, and hesitation? You feel it, don't you? That dull, persistent ache of unrealized potential. It's the ghost of the person you could be, haunting the edges of your daily life. It's the quiet frustration that simmers beneath the surface when you see another day slip by, filled with motion but no real movement. You work hard, you try to do the right thing, you follow the rules, but your effort never seems to equal the results you crave. You feel like you're running on a treadmill, sweating and striving, but the scenery never ever changes. You are surrounded by noise, by distractions, by the endless scroll of other people's curated victories, and in the silence of your own room at night, the only voice that's clear is the one that tells you you're not enough. The voice of the inner critic, your personal warden, who reminds you of every past failure and whispers warnings about every future risk. It tells you to play it safe, to stay small, to not rock the boat. It promises you comfort in exchange for your greatness. And day by day, you've been taking that deal. You've been trading your lion's roar for a kitten's purr, your eagle's flight for a cage. But a part of you, a deep, ancient, and defiant part, is tired of the cage. It's tired of the weakness, the excuses, the self-sabotage. That's why you're here. Because you are ready to hear a truth that can shatter those chains. Over the course of our time together, you will not just learn a few tips or tricks for a better mindset. You will be handed the key and the hammer. You will learn how to dismantle the prison you've built, brick by brick. You will be guided through a process to make a final, unbreakable oath to yourself. An oath that will make weakness, mediocrity, and fear completely alien to you. This is not about self-improvement. This is about self-reclamation. It is about undergoing a transformation so radical that the person you are now will become a distant memory, a stranger you barely recognize. Let me give you the first tool right now, the first crack in the wall of your prison. The source of your suffering, the true weight of your chains, is not the events of your life. It is not the difficult boss, the failed project, the rejection, or the empty bank account. The source of your suffering is your opinion about these events. An ancient Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius, knew this. He wrote to himself, not to others, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. And it is in your power to wipe out this judgment now." Think about that. The power isn't out there, it is in here. The world will always be chaotic, unpredictable, and often unfair. You cannot control the storm, but you can, with training, control the ship. You can decide not to be tossed about by the waves of your own emotional reactions. This is the first win, the realization that the lock is on the inside of the door, and you alone hold the key. This journey we are about to embark on is not for the faint of heart. It is a quest into the darkest corners of your own psyche, a confrontation with the parts of you that you have kept hidden. It is the path of the monk, not in a religious sense, but in the sense of a warrior of the mind, one who seeks absolute mastery over their inner world. We will dissect the very anatomy of your inner weakness. We will enter the forge of the will to build unbreakable discipline, and we will retreat to the silent monastery of the mind to cultivate unshakable peace. This is your Midquest Chronicle, the story of you conquering the most formidable enemy you will ever face, your former self. Let us begin by examining the chains themselves. To break them, you must first see them for what they are. They are not made of iron and steel, but of thoughts, habits, and fears. They are invisible, yet they dictate the boundaries of your entire existence. The first and perhaps most common chain is the chain of comfort. Modern life is a conspiracy against your potential, designed to lull you into a state of perpetual ease. Your couch is comfortable. Your phone is a portal to endless, effortless entertainment. Food that requires no effort to prepare is delivered to your door. Every friction point that once built human character has been systematically sanded down and polished away. We have been conditioned to believe that discomfort is the enemy, something to be avoided at all costs. But this is a lie. Discomfort is not the enemy. It is the catalyst. It is the resistance that builds the muscle. It is the fire that forges the steel. Every time you choose the easy path, you add a link to this chain. When you hit the snooze button, you are voting for comfort over discipline. When you scroll mindlessly instead of reading a book, you are voting for distraction over growth. When you avoid a difficult conversation, you are voting for temporary peace over long-term resolution. Each of these seemingly small choices is an act of self-betrayal. You are telling your subconscious mind that you are not worth the effort. You are training yourself to be weak. The monk understands that the path to strength is paved with voluntary hardship. He does not seek pain for its own sake, but he understands that growth only happens at the edge of his comfort zone. He wakes before the sun not because he enjoys the cold, but because he enjoys the man he becomes by conquering it. He eats simple food not because he dislikes flavor, but because he is mastering the tyranny of his appetites. He seeks out difficult tasks not because he is a masochist, but because he knows that in the struggle, he finds his power. So how do you begin to break this chain of comfort? You start small. You create what are called micro-discomforts. You deliberately and consciously choose to do something slightly difficult every single day. Take a cold shower for 30 seconds. Don't use sugar in your coffee. Park at the far end of the parking lot and walk. Read one page of a difficult book. Do 5 push-ups before you allow yourself to check your phone in the morning. These acts are not about the acts themselves. The cold shower doesn't hold some magical power. It's about the decision you make before the act. It is a declaration of intent. You are telling yourself, I am in control. My comfort does not own me. I choose my actions. They are not dictated by my fleeting desires. Each time you do this, you are chipping away at the chain. You are recasting the vote. You are building evidence that you are a person of discipline and strength. You are slowly, deliberately, rewiring your brain to seek growth instead of just ease. It is a quiet rebellion against the culture of comfort, a silent war waged in the small moments of your day. And these small victories accumulate. They build a momentum that eventually becomes an unstoppable force, a force that will allow you to face larger and larger challenges with a calm and centered resolve. This is the first step in breaking the chains of inner weakness. You must learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. The second chain, intertwined with the first, is the chain of fear. Not just the fear of physical danger, but the more insidious, more paralyzing fears of the modern human. The fear of judgment, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of success, and the fear of the unknown. This chain is forged in the furnace of social conditioning. From a young age, you are taught to seek approval. You get good grades to please your parents and teachers. You conform to peer pressure to fit in. You build a career to meet society's definition of success. Your entire life becomes a performance for an audience, and you live in constant terror of a bad review. This fear keeps you from speaking your truth. It keeps you from starting the business. It keeps you from asking for the promotion. It keeps you from introducing yourself to the stranger. It keeps you from being your authentic self, because what if they don't like who you really are? The monk knows that this fear is an illusion, a ghost in the machine. He understands a profound Stoic truth. You cannot control what others think of you. You can be the kindest, most generous, most brilliant person in the world, and someone will still find a reason to dislike you. Trying to please everyone is a recipe for a fractured and miserable life. It is the ultimate act of outsourcing your self-worth. You are placing the keys to your happiness in the pockets of strangers. The monk's path is to reclaim those keys. He practices indifference to the opinions of others. This is not the same as being rude or antisocial. It is about anchoring your sense of self so deeply within that the praise and criticism of the outside world become like the weather. You notice it. You might even have to adapt to it, but you do not let it define your internal state. Your value is not determined by their applause. To break this chain of fear, you must practice what could be called rejection therapy. You must willingly and systematically expose yourself to the very thing you fear. Ask for a discount on your coffee and expect to be told no. The goal is not the discount. The goal is to experience the no and realize that you survive. Lie down on the sidewalk in a public place for 10 seconds. Ask a stranger for a ridiculous favor, like borrowing their phone to make a prank call to a friend. The purpose of these exercises is to desensitize yourself to social awkwardness and judgment. You are training your nervous system to understand that social rejection is not a life-threatening event. It is just an uncomfortable feeling, and like all feelings, it passes. But the deeper work lies in confronting the fear of failure. Our culture worships success and demonizes failure. We see the highlight reels, not the thousands of hours of failed attempts that preceded the victory. This creates a paralyzing perfectionism. We are so afraid of not doing it perfectly that we never do it at all. The project remains a draft. The canvas remains blank. The idea remains a fleeting thought. The monk reframes failure entirely. To him, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. It is data. It is a lesson. It is a signpost pointing you in a new direction. The only true failure is the failure to try, the failure to learn from your mistakes. A powerful exercise for this is the fear-setting practice, popularized by Tim Ferriss but rooted in Stoic philosophy. You take your greatest fear, starting a new business, for example, and you write down in excruciating detail the absolute worst-case scenario. What would happen? You lose your savings, you have to move back in with your parents, people laugh at you, you feel ashamed. Be specific. Then for each of these outcomes, you write down what you could do to prevent it, or what you could do to repair the damage if it did happen. Could you get a part-time job? Could you rebuild your savings? You soon realize that even the worst-case scenario is not a permanent state of destruction. It is a temporary setback, a survivable event. Then you turn your attention to the cost of inaction. What will your life look like in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, if you let this fear control you and you do nothing? The regret, the stagnation, the slow death of your spirit. When you weigh the temporary, survivable pain of potential failure against the permanent, soul-crushing pain of regret, the choice becomes clear. You break the chain of fear not by becoming fearless, but by acting in spite of the fear. You feel the fear, you acknowledge it, and you take the step anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the judgment that something else is more important than fear. The third chain is the chain of the past. So many of us are prisoners of our own history. We are haunted by our mistakes, shackled to our regrets, and defined by the stories we tell ourselves about what has happened to us. I can't be disciplined because I've always been lazy. I can't have a healthy relationship because my last one was toxic. I can't be successful because I come from a poor background. We carry our past with us like a heavy sack of rocks, and we wonder why we are so tired, why we cannot seem to move forward. The past is a ghost that sits on your shoulder and whispers lies into your ear. It tells you that who you were is who you will always be. The monk knows that the past has no power over the present moment unless you give it power. The past is a memory, a collection of electrical impulses in your brain. It is not real. The only thing that is real is the now. The point of power is always in the present moment. You cannot change what happened yesterday, but you can change what you do right now. And what you do right now is what creates your tomorrow. To break this chain, you must practice the art of forgiveness, both for others and, more importantly, for yourself. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened. It is not about saying it was okay. It is about releasing yourself from the emotional poison of resentment and regret. It is a selfish act in the best sense of the word. You are not letting them off the hook. You are taking yourself off their hook. A powerful practice for this is a form of narrative therapy. You write down the story of your past, the story that has been holding you captive. Write down the mistakes, the hurts, the failures. Get it all out. Then you consciously and deliberately rewrite the story. You reframe it. You are not the victim in this story, you are the survivor. You are not the failure, you are the student. You are not the broken one, you are the one who is being forged in the fire. You look for the lessons, the strength, the resilience that you gained from those experiences. That failure taught you humility. That betrayal taught you to be more discerning. That hardship taught you that you are stronger than you ever thought possible. You take the same set of facts, but you change the meaning you assign to them. You are not erasing the past. You are transforming its role in your life. It is no longer a source of shame and limitation. It is the foundation upon which you are building your new self. Every time the ghost of the past comes to whisper in your ear, you acknowledge it, and then you gently but firmly turn your attention back to the present task. If you are working on a project and the memory of a past failure arises, you say to yourself, "Thank you for the reminder of what I've learned, but right now I am focused on this task." You are training your mind like a puppy. You are teaching it to stay in the now. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. You visit it to learn, but you do not live there. Breaking this chain is an act of profound liberation. It is the realization that every single day is a blank page. Every sunrise is an opportunity to begin again. The person you were 5 minutes ago does not have to be the person you are now. You are not your past. You are what you choose to become in this moment. Now we must speak of the fourth and perhaps heaviest chain, the chain of the inner critic. This is the voice of your own mind turned against itself. It is the relentless narrator of your inadequacy. It is the warden of your self-imposed prison. It tells you you're not smart enough, not good enough, not attractive enough, not worthy. It magnifies your flaws and minimizes your strengths. It is the voice of pure, distilled self-sabotage. For many, this voice is so constant, so pervasive, that they mistake it for the truth. They believe it is simply who they are. The monk understands that this voice is not you. It is a conditioned pattern of thought, a program that was installed in you long ago, likely in childhood, through the words of critical parents, teachers, or peers. It is a defense mechanism gone haywire, a primitive part of your brain trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. The monk's first step is not to fight this voice. Fighting it gives it energy. Arguing with it gives it legitimacy. Instead, he practices the art of disidentification. He observes the voice as if it were a passing cloud in the sky of his consciousness. He gives it a name, something slightly ridiculous like Mr. Gloom or the Worry Monster. By naming it, he separates it from himself. It is not my thought, it is the worry monster's thought. Then he practices a form of cognitive diffusion. When the voice says, "You're going to fail at this presentation," he doesn't argue. He simply adds a phrase in front of it. "I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail at this presentation." This small linguistic trick creates a space between you and the thought. You are not the thought. You are the one who is aware of the thought. You are the observer, not the observed. This strips the thought of its power. It's no longer an absolute truth. It's just a mental event, a bit of noise. The next step is to actively cultivate a new voice, the voice of the inner ally, the inner mentor. For every negative, critical thought that arises, you consciously and deliberately replace it with a supportive, compassionate, and empowering one. The inner critic says, "You messed that up, you're an idiot." The inner ally responds, "That didn't go as planned, but it was a learning experience. What can I do differently next time? I am capable of figuring this out." This will feel unnatural at first. It will feel like you're lying to yourself. But you must persist. You have spent years, perhaps decades, practicing the habit of self-criticism. It will take time and repetition to build the new habit of self-compassion and self-encouragement. Think of it like building a muscle. Every time you consciously choose the supportive thought over the critical one, you are doing a repetition. Over time, that muscle will grow stronger. The neural pathways of self-criticism will begin to weaken from disuse, and the neural pathways of self-support will become the new default. You are literally rewiring your brain. You are becoming your own coach, your own mentor, your own greatest cheerleader. Breaking this chain is the ultimate act of self-love. It is the foundation upon which all other transformations are built. You cannot build a palace on a foundation of self-hatred. You must first learn to be on your own side. You must become an unwavering ally in your own journey of growth. We have examined the chains that bind you, the deceptive comfort, the paralyzing fear, the heavy past, and the corrosive inner critic. We've begun to see that the power to break them lies not in some external magic, but in a series of small, conscious internal shifts. But seeing the chains is not enough. You must now learn how to forge the tools to shatter them. This brings us to the second great stage of our journey, the forge of the will. The will is your inner warrior, your capacity for directed, conscious action. It is the force that allows you to choose the hard right over the easy wrong. A weak will is a slave to impulse, emotion, and circumstance. A strong will is the master of the self. And like any muscle, the will is strengthened through resistance, through discipline. The word discipline has been corrupted. We think of it as punishment, as restriction, as a joyless existence. This is a profound misunderstanding. True discipline is not about restriction, it is about liberation. It is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom from your own moods, your own weaknesses, your own fleeting desires. The undisciplined person is a slave. They are a slave to their appetite, a slave to their laziness, a slave to their emotions. They want to be fit, but they are a slave to the desire for junk food. They want to be successful, but they are a slave to the impulse to procrastinate. They want to be at peace, but they are a slave to their anger and anxiety. The disciplined person is free. They have the power to choose their actions in alignment with their deepest values and long-term goals, regardless of how they feel in the moment. The forge of the will is a place of heat and pressure. It is where you take the raw iron of your intention and hammer it into the steel of your character. The hammer is your daily action. The fire is the discomfort you willingly embrace. The first principle of the forge is consistency. It is not about grand, heroic gestures made once a year. It is about small, non-negotiable actions taken every single day. The monk does not become a master through one 10-hour meditation session. He becomes a master through 1 hour of meditation every day for 10 years. The power is in the compounding effect of daily practice. You must choose your non-negotiables. These are the 1 or 2 actions that you will do every single day, no matter what. No excuses. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're busy, if you're not in the mood. These are the pillars of your new identity. Maybe it's 10 minutes of exercise. Maybe it's writing 100 words. Maybe it's 15 minutes of meditation. The specific action is less important than the unwavering commitment to it. This commitment is a declaration of war on your old self. You are saying, my feelings no longer have veto power over my actions. My commitments are more important than my comfort. A powerful technique in the forge is the practice of winning the morning. The first hour of your day sets the tone for the next 23. If you begin your day in a state of reactive distraction, grabbing your phone, scrolling through social media, checking emails, you have already lost. You have handed the reins of your consciousness over to the whims of the outside world. The monk wins the morning. He rises early, before the world can make its demands on him. He spends the first hour in a state of proactive creation and self-cultivation. This might include hydration, movement, meditation, journaling, or reading. He is fortifying his mind and body for the battles of the day ahead. He is starting the day with a victory, building a momentum of discipline that will carry him through whatever challenges arise. Create your own morning ritual, your own hour of power. Make it sacred. Protect it fiercely. Do not let the urgent distract you from the important. This one practice alone can be radically transformative. It is a daily reminder that you are the architect of your life, not a passive observer. You are not a victim of your day. You are the creator of it. Another crucial tool in the forge is the concept of eating the frog. This means you identify the most important, and often most difficult, task of your day, and you do it first. Procrastination is the thief of potential. We tend to do the easy, trivial tasks first to give ourselves the illusion of productivity, while the one task that would actually move the needle gets pushed off again and again. This creates a low-level hum of anxiety and guilt that drains our mental energy throughout the day. By tackling the hardest task first, you reverse this dynamic. You attack the day. You get the biggest win on the board before noon. This creates a feeling of accomplishment and power that fuels the rest of your day. It is an act of courage. You are facing the dragon head-on instead of letting it lurk in the shadows of your to-do list. But what happens when you fail? What happens when you miss a day in your non-negotiable practice? What happens when you choose comfort over discipline? This is a critical moment. The voice of the inner critic will rise up and tell you, see, you can't do it, you're a failure, you might as well just give up. This is the test. The monk's rule is simple: never miss twice. One missed day is an anomaly. 2 missed days is the beginning of a new negative habit. If you fall off the horse, you get back on immediately. You don't wallow in guilt. You don't make excuses. You simply return to the practice at the very next opportunity. You treat the failure as a data point. Why did I miss? Was I too tired? Was my goal unrealistic? You learn from it, you adjust, and you move on. The path to discipline is not a straight line. It is a series of corrections. The master is not the one who never falls. The master is the one who always gets back up. The will is not forged in a day. It is a lifelong practice. It is a commitment to showing up, especially on the days you don't want to. It is the understanding that your actions define your character, not your intentions or your feelings. You are not what you think or what you feel. You are what you do. Every time you choose the disciplined action, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. You are hammering the raw iron of your potential into the unbreakable steel of a powerful, self-directed, and truly free individual. You are building an inner fortress, a citadel of the will that cannot be breached by the chaos of the world or the weakness within. We have explored the chains of inner weakness, and we have stepped into the forge of the will. You've started to understand that your prison is self-made and that you hold the tools for your own liberation. You've seen that the path to strength isn't about grand gestures, but about the relentless consistency of small, disciplined acts. But a strong will without a calm mind is like a powerful engine in a car with no steering wheel. It creates motion, but it can easily lead to a crash. This brings us to the third and most profound stage of our journey, entering the silent monastery of the mind. This is where the true power lies. The ultimate freedom is not just freedom from external constraints, but freedom from your own mental and emotional turmoil. It is the ability to maintain a state of inner peace and clarity, regardless of the storms raging around you. The silent monastery is not a physical place. It is a state of being that you build within yourself. It is your inner sanctuary, your source of unshakable strength. The foundational practice for building this monastery is meditation. Again, let us strip this word of its mystical or religious baggage. At its core, meditation is simply the practice of paying attention. It is training for your mind. Just as you go to the gym to train your body, you meditate to train your attention and your awareness. In our modern world, our attention is our most valuable and most plundered resource. It is constantly being hijacked by notifications, advertisements, and the endless stream of digital content. Our minds are in a constant state of agitation, jumping from one thought to another like a frantic monkey. This leads to anxiety, stress, and an inability to focus deeply on anything. The practice is simple. You sit in a quiet place, you close your eyes, and you bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. You just notice the feeling of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. Inevitably, your mind will wander. A thought will arise. A worry, a memory, a plan. This is not a failure. This is the point of the exercise. The moment you realize your mind has wandered is a moment of victory. It is a moment of mindfulness. In that moment, you gently and without judgment guide your attention back to your breath. That is the entire practice. Each time you bring your mind back, you are performing one repetition of a mental push-up. You are strengthening your attention muscle. You are teaching your mind that you are the one in charge, not your random thoughts. Over time, something remarkable happens. You begin to create a space between you and your thoughts. You start to see that your thoughts are just events in your consciousness. They come and go. They are not you, and they do not have to control you. This is the beginning of true mental freedom. You are no longer tossed about on the chaotic sea of your own thinking. You are the calm, deep ocean beneath the waves. Another cornerstone of the silent monastery is the Stoic practice of the dichotomy of control. This is perhaps the most practical and powerful philosophy for inner peace ever conceived. It is the simple idea that in any situation, there are things you can control and things you cannot control. You can control your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, your responses. You cannot control the weather, the economy, the traffic, or what other people say or do. The source of all human misery, the Stoics argued, is in confusing these two categories. It is in trying to control what we cannot, and in neglecting to control what we can. The monk lives by this principle. Before any undertaking, he asks himself, what in this situation is within my control and what is not? He then focuses all of his energy, all of his attention on the things he can control, and he practices a radical acceptance of the things he cannot. If he is preparing for an important meeting, he cannot control whether he gets the deal. The client's mood, the company's budget, the competitor's offer, these are all outside his control. Worrying about them is a waste of precious energy, but he can control how well he prepares. He can control the quality of his presentation. He can control his own professionalism and his own integrity. So he pours his heart and soul into his preparation, and he accepts the outcome, whatever it may be. His sense of self-worth is not tied to the outcome, which is external, but to his effort, which is internal and entirely within his control. This is not a passive resignation. It is an active and strategic allocation of your resources. It is the ultimate productivity hack. Imagine the sheer amount of mental and emotional energy you would reclaim if you stopped worrying about things you have absolutely no power over. The past, the future, the opinions of others, the global news cycle. You would have a vast reservoir of energy to dedicate to what truly matters. Your own actions, your own character, your own response to this present moment. To practice this, take a current problem that is causing you stress. Draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper. On one side, list every aspect of the problem that is outside of your control. On the other side, list every aspect that is within your direct control. Now, consciously make a decision to let go of the first list. You cannot change it. Surrender to it. Then, take the second list and choose one small, concrete action you can take right now to address it. This practice, done consistently, will transform you from a reactive victim of circumstance into a proactive agent of your own life. The third pillar of the silent monastery is the practice of amor fati, a Latin phrase that means love of fate. This is the most advanced and challenging of the Stoic principles, but it is also the most liberating. It goes beyond simply accepting what happens. It means to love it, to embrace it, to see it as necessary and good. It is the belief that everything that happens, both the good and the bad, the pleasure and the pain, is a necessary part of the tapestry of your life, and that you would not wish for it to be any different. This does not mean you become a passive doormat. It does not mean you enjoy suffering. It means you choose to see the opportunity for growth and strength in every event. The difficult project is not a burden. It is an opportunity to practice your skills and your resilience. The betrayal is not a tragedy. It is a powerful lesson in discernment and self-reliance. The illness is not a curse. It is a teacher of humility and a reminder of the preciousness of life. The monk looks at every obstacle and asks not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "How can I use this? What virtue can I practice in this moment? Can I practice patience, courage, forgiveness, resilience?" This is the ultimate alchemy of the mind. It is the ability to take the lead of your life's hardships and transmute it into the gold of your character. It is the understanding that the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. The path to your greatness is not a smooth, easy road. It is a rugged, uphill climb, and the very rocks that you stumble over are the stepping stones to your ascent. To practice amor fati is to say yes to life in its totality. It is to dance with destiny, to embrace your fate as if you had chosen it yourself. It is the highest form of inner peace, a state of profound and unshakable equanimity. Building this silent monastery within you is the work of a lifetime. It is a daily practice of meditation, of distinguishing what you can and cannot control, and of choosing to find the good in whatever life throws at you. It is the cultivation of an inner world so strong, so serene, so centered, that the chaos of the outer world can no longer touch your core. You become the eye of the hurricane. You become a source of strength not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. You have broken the chains of inner weakness. You have forged an unbreakable will, and now you have built a sanctuary of peace within your own mind. You are becoming unrecognizable. When was the last time you truly sat in silence, with no distractions, and simply observed the workings of your own mind? When was the last time you consciously decided how you would respond to a difficult situation, rather than just reacting on autopilot? These are not trivial questions. They are the keys to a life of power, purpose, and peace. We have journeyed far. We have dissected the invisible chains of comfort, fear, the past, and self-criticism that have held you captive. We have stepped into the fiery forge of the will, learning to build discipline through consistent daily action. We have begun the sacred work of constructing the silent monastery of the mind, a sanctuary of peace built on the foundations of mindfulness, the dichotomy of control, and the love of fate. You are no longer just a victim of your own mind. You are beginning to see that you are its master. The path ahead is clear, yet it requires one final, decisive act, a point of no return. This brings us to the heart of our quest, the monk's final oath. This is not a casual promise or a New Year's resolution. This is a solemn, sacred vow you make to the highest version of yourself. It is a declaration of war on mediocrity. It is the moment you draw a line in the sand and say, "The old me dies today. The weak, fearful, undisciplined version of me is no longer welcome here." This oath is the spark that ignites the radical transformation you seek. It is the formal ceremony marking the death of your old identity and the birth of the new. To take this oath, you must first find a place of solitude and silence, a place where you will not be disturbed. This is a private and deeply personal ritual. Bring a pen and paper. This is not something to be done in your head. The act of writing makes it real, it gives it weight and substance. The oath consists of three parts. The first part is the renunciation. Here you will write down with brutal honesty everything you are leaving behind. You will name your weaknesses, your excuses, your self-sabotaging behaviors. Write it all down. I renounce my habit of procrastination. I renounce my fear of what others think of me. I renounce my addiction to comfort and distraction. I renounce the voice of my inner critic. I renounce the belief that I am not good enough. Be specific. Be merciless. This is an exorcism. You are naming your demons so that you may cast them out. Do not shy away from the ugliness. You must see the prison clearly before you can leave it. Read this list aloud. Feel the weight of these chains for the last time. Acknowledge the pain they have caused you. And then make the conscious decision to let them go. You can even, as a symbolic act, burn this piece of paper. As you watch it turn to ash, visualize all of that weakness, all of that fear, all of that self-doubt, turning to dust and blowing away on the wind. It no longer has any power over you. The second part of the oath is the affirmation. On a new sheet of paper, you will write down who you are choosing to become. This is not a list of goals, it is a declaration of identity. You will write in the present tense as if it is already true. I am a person of unshakable discipline. I am a warrior of the mind in complete control of my focus and my emotions. I am courageous, and I act in spite of fear. I am the creator of my life, not a victim of my circumstances. I am my own greatest ally, and I treat myself with respect and compassion. I am resilient, and I use every obstacle as a stepping stone to my own growth. This is your new constitution, the guiding principles of your new life. Read this list aloud, not with hope, but with conviction. This is not who you are trying to be. This is who you are from this moment forward. Every action you take from now on must be in alignment with this new identity. Before you make a choice, you will ask yourself, what would the person I have sworn to be do in this situation? This becomes your new compass, your North Star. Keep this paper with you. Read it every morning when you wake up and every evening before you sleep. You are programming your subconscious mind with your new identity. You are becoming the person you have declared yourself to be. The third and final part of the oath is the commitment to practice. An oath without action is just a collection of empty words. Here, you will write down the specific, non-negotiable practices that will form the foundation of your new life. These are the daily actions that will reinforce your new identity. Be concrete. I commit to rising at 5 a.m. every day, no matter what. I commit to 30 minutes of focused exercise every day. I commit to 10 minutes of meditation every day. I commit to reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. I commit to the practice of never miss twice. These are not just tasks on a to-do list. They are your sacred rituals. They are the physical manifestation of your oath. They are the work you do in the forge of the will and the silent monastery of the mind. This is your proof to yourself that you are serious. This is you putting your skin in the game. This commitment is unbreakable. It is not dependent on your mood, your energy levels, or your motivation. It is your duty to the person you have sworn to become. Once you have written these three parts, the renunciation, the affirmation, and the commitment to practice, you will stand up, hold the papers in your hand, and speak the oath aloud. Say something like this in your own words from the depths of your being. I, your name, on this day, take a final and unbreakable oath. I renounce the chains of my past self. I affirm the identity of my highest self. And I commit to the daily practice that will make this transformation real. The old me is dead. My new life begins now. There is no turning back. Feel the power of these words. Let them sink into every cell of your body. This is a moment of profound significance. You have just redrawn the map of your life. You have declared your own sovereignty. You have taken the ultimate responsibility for who you are and who you will become. This is the monk's final oath. It is the breaking of the chains. It is the point of no return. Now, the final and most important stage of the journey begins, living the oath. It is one thing to have a moment of powerful inspiration. It is another thing to live out that inspiration in the mundane reality of daily life. This is where the real work is done. This is where you transform from someone who had a powerful experience into someone who is a powerful person. This is how you become truly, lastingly, unrecognizable. The first challenge you will face is the resistance of your old self. Your brain is wired for efficiency. It loves old habits, even bad ones, because they require less energy. For the first few days, perhaps even weeks, you will be in a constant battle with your old programming. The alarm will go off at 5 a.m., and every fiber of your being will scream for you to hit the snooze button. You will sit down to meditate, and your mind will feel like a raging storm. You will face a difficult task, and the urge to procrastinate will feel overwhelming. This is normal. This is the death rattle of your old identity. Do not be discouraged. This is where your oath and your commitment to practice become your lifeline. You do not consult your feelings. You consult your oath. You do the thing you said you would do simply because you said you would do it. You act your way into a new way of feeling, not the other way around. Each time you override the resistance, you weaken the old neural pathways and strengthen the new ones. It is a war of attrition, and you win by simply not giving up. The second challenge you will face is the resistance of the outside world. As you begin to change, the people around you will notice. Some will be inspired, but many will be uncomfortable. Your new discipline will be a mirror that reflects their own lack of it. Your new courage will highlight their own fear. Your new self-respect will challenge their attempts to control or manipulate you. They may mock you. They may try to sabotage you. They may say things like, "You've changed," as if it's an accusation. Your old drinking buddies will wonder why you no longer want to spend your Friday nights in a haze of alcohol. Your family may question your new morning routine. Your colleagues may resent your new level of focus and productivity. You must be prepared for this. You must understand that their reaction is not about you. It is about them. It is about their own comfort zones, their own fears, their own resistance to change. You have two choices. You can shrink back down to make them feel comfortable, thus betraying your oath and yourself. Or you can stand firm in your new identity and let them adjust to the new you. The monk chooses the latter. He is polite, he is compassionate, but he is unyielding in his commitment to his own growth. He understands that if he has to choose between his own self-respect and the approval of others, he will choose self-respect every single time. He understands that the people who truly belong in his life will celebrate his growth, and the ones who don't will naturally fall away. This can be a painful process, a shedding of old social skins, but it is a necessary one. You cannot soar with eagles if you continue to scratch with turkeys. You must protect your new identity with the ferocity of a mother protecting her child. Your environment is critical. Surround yourself with people who fan your flames, not those who pour water on them. The third challenge is the plateau. After the initial excitement of your oath wears off and you've overcome the initial resistance, you may enter a period where it feels like you're not making progress. You're doing the work, you're sticking to your practices, but you don't see the dramatic changes you saw at the beginning. This is the long, hard middle of the journey. This is where most people give up. They mistake the lack of immediate feedback for a lack of progress. The monk knows that this is where the most important growth is happening. It's the silent, deep work of character building. It's the compounding of thousands of small, correct choices. It's like the bamboo tree, which shows no visible growth for the first 5 years as it builds a massive root system underground, and then suddenly shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. During the plateau, you are building your root system. You must have faith in the process. You must fall in love with the practice itself, not just the results. You must learn to find joy in the discipline, satisfaction in the effort, and peace in the process of becoming. You must trust that the results are accumulating beneath the surface, and that they will reveal themselves in due time. To navigate this stage, you must track your progress, not just the big outcomes, but the small daily wins. Keep a journal. At the end of each day, write down, "Today I honored my oath by," and list the actions you took. I woke up at 5 a.m. I completed my workout. I faced a difficult conversation with courage. I chose to respond with calm instead of anger. This creates a feedback loop of positive reinforcement. It provides concrete evidence that you are becoming the person you swore to be. It trains your brain to look for your own victories, rather than focusing on your perceived shortcomings. It keeps you focused on the process, on the daily execution, which is the only thing you truly control. Living the oath is a dynamic process. It is not about being perfect. It is about being persistent. It is not about never stumbling. It is about getting up every single time with more resolve than before. It is a lifelong commitment to growth, to self-mastery, to becoming the strongest, calmest, most powerful version of yourself. It is the understanding that you are not a finished product. You are a work in progress. You are a sculpture, and you are both the marble and the chisel. Every day, with every choice, you are either carving out the masterpiece, or you are chipping away at your own potential. The person who takes this oath and lives it out will, over time, become unrecognizable, not just to others but to themselves. The anxiety that once plagued them will be replaced by a quiet confidence. The procrastination that once crippled them will be replaced by a bias for action. The emotional reactivity that once controlled them will be replaced by a centered calm. They will walk differently. They will talk differently. They will carry themselves with an aura of inner strength and self-respect that is palpable. They will not need to announce their power because it will be felt in their presence. They will have broken the chains of inner weakness not by fighting them, but by making themselves too strong to be contained by them. They will have achieved the ultimate freedom, the freedom to be their true, highest self in every moment, in every situation. This is the promise of the monk's final oath. This is the dangerous power that lies dormant within you, waiting to be unleashed. The journey we have taken together is not just an intellectual exercise. It is a call to action. It is a map, but a map is useless unless you are willing to take the first step. You have been shown the chains. You have been given the tools for the forge. You have been guided into the monastery of the mind. You have been handed the script for the oath. The rest is up to you. The life you have lived up to this point has led you here, to this moment of decision. On one side of the door is the familiar comfort of your old self, the predictable pain of your current existence. On the other side is the unknown, challenging, but ultimately liberating path of the warrior, the monk, the master of their own soul. The person you were always meant to become is waiting on the other side of that door. What will you do when this screen goes dark? Which door will you walk through?